origin of life, because I'm a science student, so I think it may come from the cells division. That means the sperms with ovaries, and then they come together to produce some activities inside. Is it the I forget the name. Is it the uh, something about biotic? I don't remember it, but I know it's about cell division, and then it will, with many times division, they will become babies and then form the human beings. And then this is what I know from biology course, but I forgot most of the biology, because now I'm not studying biology. Instead I'm studying engineering. So yeah, that's what I think the origin of life comes from. Well, I understand evolution from knowledge actually comes from secondary school teachers. The teacher taught me about biology, and then I because I'm not very good at biology, so I think this is evolution is about a process which animals need to change to human in order to combat the environmental changes, environmental stresses, and also to because human beings are with less hairy in their faces, and while in the past the animals with many hairs in their hairs in their faces. I think these changes may be due to the attraction of female and male, and then we no need to use hairs to protect ourselves. Instead, we can have clothes and we have many other things. So the evolution process actually I think has been undergoing in nowadays too. This is what I think. I think it's definitely because we as a human, we need to know where we come from. So I think the basic knowledge we need to learn first is that why we are here on Earth. So I think schools should teach us about the knowledge of evolution or creationism, because it's just as common as we need to learn the language to communicate with each other. But I think it's most important that why we human beings are on Earth, why we come from here. But for evolution, it is a process that comes from the scientific perspective. The students are more acceptable to this kind of saying because it got evidence, and it's very easy to learn that just from animals to human beings. But for creationism, sometimes mainly the concept is about our human beings are created, not be transformed, not be changed from animals. So I think these two concepts the schools should teach the students, especially for primary school or for secondary school and even university students. But I think the schools can teach according to their students' preferences, because it's most important for students to have interest to choose whether they like the concept of evolution or creationism, and then they can study in depth about the topic they like, and the schools can provide suitable education to these two topics. Yeah. Actually, I'm a Christian, and I think the religious background made me rethink about the origin of life, especially for evolution and creation, which I have many problems questions come from these two topics, because from my Christian background, from my religious knowledge, that is human beings are created, but they're actually created by God, but they're actually not very strong scientific evidence, because as I mentioned before, I'm a science student. Therefore, I really like to have some kinds of evidence to support the claim of creationism. But I still can't really find out the actual any strong evidence to persuade me to think of this. But as I'm Christian, I would choose to believe the things that I would like to believe, no matter there's evidence or not, because I think there's a maybe there's some one day the scientists can find out that human beings are really creative, but I cannot doubt that deny that the possibility of creationism. So as a Christian, I would believe in creationism. But for me, if other people asking me and want me to explain to them, I would use evolution, use a more reasonable way, so that they can more acceptable to this kind of saying and accept this knowledge. Yeah, so I think as a Christian, and we need to depend in different situations in order to use which kind of explanation. As I'm really not very good at biology, but for evolution, I would got some question on it. That is, based on my religious background, I would always want to question about whether there's really a linkage between evolution and Christian creationism. Whether it is really so contradictory. It is whether it's evolution or otherwise it's creationism. I think there may be some linkage between these two topics. There may be some kind of things in the future. The scientists can find out that there's not only one thing about origin of life, but of evolution only, but also the creationism, because life contains many possibilities, and that's what I think that about this on evolution and also the creationism.